For me personally, this is where I sharpen my sword. This is where I learn the way other people are talking about things like precursors.
Well, I like to take home other people's ideas. Hopefully I've shared mine and some people in the conference will find those useful.
I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to come and attend this conference this week. It's amazing to see so many committed, dedicated EHS professionals and leaders that are all working together to try to drive fatalities to zero.
The good news is that there's enough knowledge out there that we can prevent fatalities right now. We just have to pull it together, which is what I think IUP is doing, and we need to spread the word.
The Safety Sciences Department at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, in cooperation with the Alcoa Foundation, DuPont Sustainable Solutions, Edison Mission Group, and United States Steel, hosted the 2012 Fatality Prevention Forum. At the forum, safety professionals gathered from all over the country to discuss serious injury and fatality issues in the workplace.
In the last 10 years or so, we have observed a very interesting pattern in the data of serious injuries and fatalities in relation to medical treatment cases. And the pattern is that medical treatment cases have been coming down steadily, but serious and fatal injuries have been level across that same time period. And that's a really very disturbing pattern, because it means that the things that we're doing in organizations to reduce injuries are working for smaller injuries, but not working for the big injuries that you would really like to see an impact on.
Through a combination of presentations by world-renowned experts and special topic breakout sessions, speakers and attendees collaborated to find the best practices for reducing risk, as well as methods and models for prevention.
It's really probably one of the most important things that we work on as safety and health professionals. There's no higher calling is saving lives.
As a profession, we've done the same stuff the same old way for decades, and then we wonder why we're not getting a different result. And I think what we've got to do is kind of step out of the box, and we've got to focus on things differently.
Join Dr. Lon Ferguson, chairperson of IUP's Safety Sciences Department, and the 2012 Fatality Prevention Forum participants as they outline each objective and the ways in which they were met.
The Fatality Prevention Forum in 2012 has 6 basic objectives that we hope to accomplish. The first objective is to identify practical approaches that a facility can use to develop a risk profile.
Risk assessment is critical to preventing any type of injury, especially serious injuries and fatalities, because the more complex the work, the more assessment that needs to be done in order to define what are the risks of the work so that you can control them.
Yeah, the problem we're dealing with is trying to identify some methods that people can use to identify their level of risk exposure in terms of encountering problems with serious incidents, fatalities, and that sort of thing. So we'd like to be able to help people.
The main idea here is that one of the best ways to prevent fatalities is to try to see the accident scenarios before they ever occur. This particular technology allows you to, first of all, see the different accident scenarios that could result in a fatality, and then secondly, ranks those in order of importance. What that allows you to do then is to deploy your resources in the most cost-efficient way possible to reduce that risk.
Yes, we had a number of best practices that came out. We looked at risk assessment, we looked at profiling for risk for the worker, and we found a number of other best practices that our companies are using.
And I think one of the most interesting things we talked about was profiling individuals in risk and risk-taking behaviors and decisions. We had a industrial organizational psychologist in the group, and he's done a lot of work in that area. So that was something I wasn't expecting to see, so I was kind of pleasantly surprised by that coming up.
The second objective we have is to recognize the most effective leadership styles and organizational attributes that are necessary for a fatality prevention effort. This includes, but is not limited to, training, root cause analysis, and employee engagement.
Well, you know, there are two basic ways that organizations try to approach safety management, it seems. One is sort of like a safety management system approach, and the other is a behavioral approach. And it looks like the two camps always are on different shores. They hardly ever meet. And so it's that employee engagement is like a gatekeeper. In order for these safety management systems to work, they have to flow through employee engagement. I think that's sort of profound because what it says is we have to bring the two sides together. You just can't have sort of behavioral type approaches and you just can't have safety management system types of approaches. You have to sort of merge them together.
This is more organizational than individual. In other words, we still have room to grow in our safety systems. That when we believe that our system's good, if we can just get people to do what they're supposed to do, we'll be okay. We're going to continue to have fatalities and serious injuries.
The way to begin is by educating people on a new kind of way of looking at the whole thing, like I've just been describing, and then compute a serious and fatal injury rate, which includes the events that happen and smaller events that have the potential to be big ones. And then contrast that with the medical treatment case rate, and then you can see where you need to focus additional attention.
Injuries. We back up and we see that it's actually the organizational drivers that put people in those positions where they create serious injuries and fatalities. Then we're going to approach serious injury reduction and fatality reduction with a different perspective.
I think that, you know, that idea about seeing these little nuggets, I think they got a lot of good information. There was great benchmarking. Some of these sessions that we had were really, and I deal with companies on these issues on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to leave here learning something and stuff that I can put to use right away. So I think, and I had a lot of people coming up and kind of congratulating me on what we had done, and really, you know, we weren't the ones, the participants were. They brought a lot of good stuff to the table.